So the other day I came across our business model canvas from 2019, and I think I created this for a presentation in Pool, which actually led on to securing funding for the SMEMA Hermes adapter. So while I walked away from that presentation thinking, oh, that's a waste of time, bit of experience of presenting to a large crowd, actually it gave us the funding for the adapter. So it just shows you sometimes you attend these presentations thinking nothing's going to come out of it. This is 2019, so this is not the start. This is the start was 2016. So this is kind of 6 years ago. So I just thought, as I came across it, it would be a good idea to just review it and see how we're getting on, or if anything has changed. Business model canvas is a way of describing your business plan on one page, essentially. So I hope you can see this. It's broken down into different sections. So let's start with the value proposition. So multiplug.net fog computing platform. We've dropped the concept of fog computing because people said it sounded murky. We're now using edge computing. So the value proposition of Multiplug was visual programming, drag and drop. This is now called low code, no code, and certainly, essentially, it's high configuration software. Why now? Why isn't all software high configuration? I think it's because a lot of software is being developed with a use case and end customer, and so this is about creating a platform that is a bit more general purpose, and therefore creating a high level of configuration. So certainly we've done that. It's local set-up deployment, yes. Compatible with legacy C++. It is, but I don't think that's actually going to be an advantage really going forward. This is 2016, and so this is like sort of 9 years ago now. I predict in the long term actually just use the latest and greatest software, and because we're using, it's all about data and things like that, people want to be using the latest and greatest, but there is a backward compatibility level of it, but so not really applicable anymore. Complements legacy software, yes, you can install it alongside existing software as long as you're running Windows or Linux. You can run it alongside, and therefore you can take a step-by-step approach to upgrading or just having a secondary interface or other software running on it. Aligned to web skill-based assisting recruitment, yes, and that's the main driver of our business, which is to say there's it's very difficult to appeal to the graduate coming out of university or the college leaver coming out of sort of 18-year-olds to work in manufacturing or engineering. There are people that will, but at the same time there's a lot more people that want to go into the .com, the web, the digital economy. So yes, because it's all the user interface is a browser-based user interface. Remove fog security concerns, yes, we use all the web technology sort of securities. Our solution primarily runs on the premise, on the production line, so it can connect to the edge if it wants to. Migrate options from the fog to the cloud, yes, again you can, it's a step-by-step approach. You can start with on-premise, and then if you're happy you can then push some data from Multiplug, which is running on our adapters, to the cloud. We aim to align the digital economy, allowing our business to become the bridge of old and new, and that's certainly still our mission statement, our mission to date. So that's a lot of ticks in the box, and that's kind of the core of the business we founded. What next? What next? What next? Key resources, digital economy. Yes, as I said, we definitely to align to the digital economy, the .com, the web. There's lots of recruitment. There's lots of technologies that you can harness, and you can stop reinventing the wheel. Standards body member. Yes, we are part of a membership of the Hermes standard. That's given us probably more word of mouth than information. I mean, the majority of information is on their website, and we've been able to create our product using that information. But it's probably given a bit of word of mouth. People have probably talked about us. And same with the Connected Factory Exchange. Yes. Legacy standards, I mean, going from the bottom, Modbus, no. CAMX, no. But SMEMA, definitely. And this gives us a broad, we are impartial to any other equipment suppliers. It means that where traditionally some companies have been stuck with their customer base, we can go throughout the electronic manufacturing industry because majority of the equipment uses SMEMA, and that's what we're upgrading. So that's been a big positive. Key activities, solution consultancy. Yes, we do a lot of that. Though, if I skip down to revenue streams, it's not been a revenue stream because, you know, we want to do a lot of stuff for free. Essentially, we want to make sure that when people contact us, they know that we're going to help them, and obviously that has an organic effect, which means that they're likely to buy our product. So, you know, it's not grand big solutions. It's simple, you know, email worth of diagrams and what I would do, and that's essentially what we do. And it's very noticeable that people are very thankful that we can give them that quick response, and maybe they've not had that quick response from other suppliers where it has to go through project management and product management, etc. So we've been able to be agile with that, and I think that's one of the biggest advantages of being a startup, scale-up business. Software development, yes, of course, we're doing lots of that. Solution support, yes, when customers install our product or when they're thinking about some sort of solution, we can support them on a engineer level. Training, not at the moment. No, we our documentation is pretty poor, but again, it's all about just getting in contact with us, and when we can support them for now in that way. Industry influencer, and that's kind of in the marketing bracket. We've been on the BBC, we've been on Mike Conrad's podcast, and generally the point of these videos, even today, is about talking our mind, talking opinion, giving people something to talk about, and trying to get out that silo that is there, which is the only place where people talk currently is trade shows. And I mean, we did this 9 years ago, but now, thanks to the pandemic, there's lots of podcasts now that are talking about the industry. As I said, Mike Conrad's podcast. There's lots of other inside the factory actually making equipment suppliers, the contract manufacturers actually talking about what they expect from customers, etc. So that's certainly what we're doing. Customer relationships, complementary software tools, not at the moment. We try to we're trying to use what's already out there, the industry, but it's very difficult to find out what other people are doing, even when you just contact them briefly on an email. So not really. White label software for partner hardware, that's kind of thinking about the multi-plug situation. We were contacted very early on about trying to integrate our adapter into someone's machine, but it was very early on, and we came up with a solution, but they just went silent on us, really. So, but we were very thankful for that conversation, because actually it did remind us that we can support multiple lines rather than just one line. So that's definitely a to-do. Bespoke solutions based on software platforms. again, we don't know what platforms are out there really. This is that I would love to be working with MES suppliers and trying to build upon their solutions, but again, it's very difficult to know. If you're not a customer, it's very difficult to actually download their software and use their software. You go to their website, it's a brochure, and then you go to contact us, and then or any sort of more information, and they just get you to fill in a form. So not really, no. Customer segments, love to work in another industry or manufacturing industry, but really it is just manufacturing. Consumer kind of based products, there's always an opportunity to use the multi-plug, and maybe that is a bit of a to-do. Let's go over to cost structure. Yeah, definitely salary, rent, travel, yeah, marketing, software tools, not involved in running the business really, apart from them. Finally, partners. I mean, I think we are actually an advantage of not having partners, because partners create that siloed effect, create that closed customer base. It obviously does catapult a business forward if you have partners. I mean, the Microsoft and the Apple kind of history is Microsoft was, as Steve Jobs called it, had a Saturn V rocket, which blasted them off by working with IBM. But I think there's also another story there, which is Apple and Microsoft collaborated along the way. So two essentially startup businesses collaborated with one sort of leeching off IBM, I guess. I would love to know the story of how that conversation happened between Bill and IBM. It probably was just a small team within IBM that he got. So hardware, IoT hardware manufacturers. So BrainBox is definitely a company that triggered all this off in 2016 or 2015, when they contacted us out of the blue wanting to know about Industry 4 and all that kind of stuff. That kind of gave me the emphasis to keep go at it. But really, as a partner, we've sold a few of their devices. They've quite kindly checked in with us to see how we're going, but we haven't really partnered, and I still think there's an opportunity there with BrainBoxes, because they are a family-run company, and but every time I've gone back to them, they're working on something else, and it seems that they're working on Ethernet devices at the moment, and they're not really working on their I/O devices. But essentially, the Hermes adapter is an I/O device. IoT Event. This was a startup business founded by Pete Beckett, and sadly, I always thought there was a collaboration opportunity there. Maybe not work on the same business, but collaborating between software and hardware, etc. But he founded another company, and I think it was a case of get the funding or don't start kind of situation, which is sad, because our situation is we didn't get the funding, well, all the funding, because we didn't know what funding we needed. We got pocket money along the way, and that gave us the stepping stone approach of scaling this business. But in his situation, he was fundraising, and fundraising is a very time-consuming activity, as is contacting so-called partners or potential people in the industry. It's what the business development manager would do. And actually, we were founded, me and Julian founded the business, and he was business development. But it was very early days, and it was very difficult to manage him, essentially, because there was very little. It was all in my mind, and it was. I mean, every time I attended meetings, I would have to relay those meetings back to him. So I needed someone that could take an idea and just run with it, essentially start their own little mini business up in their mind. And it didn't work out in those early days. But now, all these sort of activities, partnerships, and going out to customers is exactly what. Well, again, we are where we are. I wouldn't say we definitely need it, and then there's a downside, as I will speak later on. I think that we've been actually quite. It's been in our success that we haven't had partners, because, as I said before, they can catapult you, but they can also put you in a bit of a silo. Manufacturing equipment manufacturers, yeah. So ASM Assembly Systems, now called ASMPT, don't have much interaction with them. Don't see much. I originally worked in Weymouth, and I don't see anything about them on social media. And I've hinted at that. They should be promoting the Hermes standard, for example, and saying what the machine does. They were more involved in the early days because of the management there. They knew about me, and obviously they pulled me in occasionally to kind of show and tell. But since then, it's the management on the Weymouth side has completely changed, and so I don't get any interaction from them. Having said that, majority of our customers are ASMPT users. So actually, they're the kind of tier 1 customers, which is not what I expected to target at the start, to be fair. So I would say that's maybe a work in progress. ASYSGroup, no contact from them. They're pretty poor on their social media. I don't really know what they're up to. BTU, no. Europlacer, they've just released their newest printer, and it's Hermes standard compatible. I went to the Southern Manufacturing Show in the UK to try and understand where they are. I think it's a case just like I found it when I was working at DEC, where if the sales guys don't really know where they are, where the company is, or where they are with the Hermes standard, then they don't really have much of a response. So I walked up to them to the booth because I've contacted them directly. They are local to us, and it's a big shame that they haven't dragged us in to say, what do you know, what do you do? We need to know everything you know about the Hermes standard. But I think they are kind of halting the Hermes rollout a little bit, because actually their customer base is really applicable to the Hermes standard, because it's not about big MES systems, it's about data flow. So I plan to go and knock on their door again and show them the adapter, get some boards moving from their machine. I think they're at a lower version of Hermes, I think, at the moment. So I will obviously compile a report to say these are the features you need to implement. But that's a big opportunity, and it always has been. But it's a case of the sales guys don't know where they are, so they're being reliant on the technical guys. The technical guys are then leading the show, and I've seen that before. Yeah, and rather than saying to them we don't know, which actually they were more talkative on the trade show, they just go silent, and that's common within the sales industry, and I'll talk about that a bit later. Hella, no. Co-Young, no. New Tech, yes. So New Tech is a board handling conveyor company. They're UK. Again, this is a common trait, which is if you talk to the company from the home country, they're a bit more understanding of what the status quo. New Tech in the UK are just a sales arm, so they've been a bit not really talkative about what they're up to. But New Tech actually from other countries have been quite not directly involved with us, but they have purchased and they have set up, used our product. Pardon me, no. Manufacturing software systems suppliers, this is a big problem. So you would expect that being software companies, they were a bit more sociable, vocal. They would allow you to download their software, they would allow you to play with their software, etc. But actually they've kind of adopted the culture of the rest of the hardware industry, which is to be quite closed. They're obviously fighting for customers, and they worry, well, this is my presumption, they're worrying about anything, any sort of competition. So Aegis-Software, obviously I knew of Michael Ford, who's now died, unfortunately. That was an opportunity there. I think all these are work in progress. Cogiscan is a connectivity company. They try to connect machines up, so they've kind of, what's brilliant about Cogiscan is they've gone from startup to exit. The 3 founders have now exited the business now, and so that's a nice story to tell when I talk about my business, because it shows you the industry, you know, go from start to end, and they're a kind of a 20-year plus business, and so they haven't exited after 5 years or anything like that. But they did partner with ITAC, who also has a parent company. I think it's called DE or something like that. Ment or Siemens, no, I don't know what they're up to at all. But really, these guys need to collaborate, and I think what I've realised is some of these companies have similar kind of adapters or hardware connections, which actually is quite common. But they're really bad at promoting them. I don't actually know. I think Aegis-Software, for example, I hinted on their trade show that they already got some sort of connection, but because I was trying to integrate their software with the CFX, and the guy at the stand was very hesitant in telling me any information, really. Again, this is a sales problem. This is not a company culture problem. I'm not criticising these companies. I'm criticising the fact that actually, if you want to, we need to create an ecosystem. We need to create some collaboration, and you need people that tech people can talk to, not the sales guys, because the sales guys are there to sell stuff. Automotive Sensei, that was just a local company that is kind of being purchased by Siemens. No connection with them. Manufacturing Execution Systems and Monitoring, well, they kind of are the ones at the top there, but there was a few I met in the early days. This I have no connection with anymore. Yeah, Wonder Software, Lighthouse, Things Track, don't know anything about them at all. So really, partners, I have no formal partnerships, but what I do have is people using the product and recommending it, and that really comes on to the last thing, which is the opportunities of the sales, really. And this is the big one. Direct www sales, yes, definitely. I mean, this is about creating a product, having vision, creating a product, working in the industry, and selling direct. And I'll come on to the conclusions of that in a minute. Partner referrals, well, it's not really partner, it's a small p. I don't know how to describe it, but it's a small p. It's not really partners, but it's referrals, definitely referrals out there. And we've got some distributors that aren't formal. They're just people that are buying on behalf of customers, and there are many customers that, you know, we haven't sold to directly. Whether they're scared of buying direct, I'm not sure, but I don't mind anyone who wants to buy the product, even if you're a competitor. I mean, it's just knowledge. I mean, there's lots of stuff that I want the industry to adopt, so to borrow some ideas is not a problem. You know, what we're doing is simple stuff at the end of the day, but we've definitely got referrals. Partner customer base, yes, definitely. When, as I said, word of mouth is definitely a big thing. Trade shows, I don't know really. I mean, I've gone to a number of them, and I've obviously shared my business card, and I've got the word out there. It must have done something. Definitely the word of mouth thing. So revenue streams is the last one. Training, not really, no, we're going to give away for free at the moment. Software development, no, give away for free. Solution support, no, everyone's been quite respectful, you know, that they, I think if they want things faster they would have to pay for it, but really everyone's really happy with the time. We can normally turn around something in 2 weeks, and I think, you know, most of our customers and suppliers and whatever are already delayed by some way, so quite often we're supplying them. Platform licensing, yes, we've sold some software, we've sold some multi-plug. Third-party platform commissions, no, I don't think, no. So I think big things is that you're still in the manufacturing area, still direct to customer. Value proposition is really still big. Being part of a member standards member is just old school, keeping yourself in the club, really. I mean, I don't agree with it unless you want to contribute. I think all the transparency and visibility should be there for everyone else. If you want to watch a meeting that's occurred, you should be able to do that on YouTube. You shouldn't have to attend the meeting if you just simply want to gain information. And I think Mike Conrad is kind of realizes that, you know, he's promoting his business by simply educating the industry, which is exactly what we will be doing or doing already by our views and opinions. Key activate, yeah, all that stuff. Partners, not really partners, unless I'm missing someone. I'm missing one. Just great customers at the end of the day. So what's the kind of conclusion to this? Well, right. So first of all, we have made our opportunities. We've worked in the industry. We've seen opportunities. We've had a vision. We've sold a product. Obviously, customers have bought that product. We have made our opportunities. We have not sought them from others, and it means that we work with the actual customer rather than the bigger the company customer kind of thing. You know, we are working with the production managers rather than, or you know, when I say production managers, I'm not talking about people managers. I'm talking about people that manage the production line. We're solving their problems, and we're getting that feel-good feeling from helping them, rather than sometimes you can fix a company's problem, but you're not actually solving the actual customer, which is below them. We haven't, obviously, we thought about, you know, partnering with existing big players in the industry, but I think you need to partner with companies of the same sort of size, and I think rather than partnering with equipment suppliers or MES suppliers, we've kind of partnered with the companies, our customers, and I think many of them appreciate it. I mean, I love the emails that I get to, even when there's a problem. I mean, they just love the fact that we're fixing problems. Word of mouth and SEO has secured us good customers, and this is really important when you're starting a business, to have good customers. You know, it can be the same sort of principle, really. You can easily think about the big names in the industry and partner with them, and then they just become either a silo. You can't gravitate away from them, and you know, I've heard horror stories of the funding running out, or you know, the partnership coming to an end, and then that company's doomed. But it's mean that every customer that's contacted us has Googled us, or has been subtly referred to us by word of mouth, and it means that our customers have been good. I mean, we have a customer and a potential customer that came from the same big brand, let's say. It's different factories in different parts of the world, and one of them, he was a person on his own, tasked with digitalizing the factory, and he's worked with us step by step, rolling out production line by production line, the solution. and it's been successful. He then, I don't know whether he recommended them to speak to us, but then another factory came along from a different part of the world, and on that email there was 8 contacts on the email, and so I knew that was a big project, and it wasn't going to go anywhere, and it didn't. So it was a case of proving it with the existing customer. So rather than high sales with high support, so word of mouth, it's called as great customers. Sales-based companies are hard to engage because they're front of their company's salespeople rather than innovators. And really what you need to do is partner the innovation team with a business development manager, and then open your doors and tell the community what your challenges are, essentially. But it is a two-way street, and there's blame in both games, because it's a time-consuming act, and we should be contacting other people too. I mean, that's a given. Industry is poor at innovating, communication and organic collaboration. But I have hope that the new generations will solve this problem slowly, and the silver tsunami has catapulted that change, I think. Finally, startup businesses could help each other. But the problem is we're all focusing on our own mission. We've got our funders behind us that might not want us to be distracted, but essentially, businesses of a similar size should help each other, I think. But it's quite easy to forget that, trying to look up to the parents, the bigger companies out there, the ones with the funding. But that's what we could be doing as a startup community, which is helping each other, and I've seen that problem being highlighted elsewhere. So that's a quick, well, I say quick, 30 minutes, it should have been quicker than that, of our review of our business model canvas of 2019. Thank you for watching.